telling you my worst experience with marijuana. So basically, my worst experience was with this friend. This friend and I, she had moved, and we had like just met and just started being friends, and she had moved. And we were both pretty bummed about it because like we had just made, like, I had known about her prior, but like the people that she used to hang out with, I didn't hang out with. Like we had two different friends, like groups of friends. So like she stayed with hers, and then I don't know, like something, I don't know, like we became friends. I don't remember how we made friends, like became friends, but we did. So anyway, after that, so she's like, girl, and I'm like, what's up? And she's like, I'm coming back. And I was like, for real? And she's like, yeah. She's like, but get this, like, when I get back, we should smoke. So I was like, bet, say less. And when we were talking, like, prior to then, I was smoking. Like, with other people, like, I was smoking. And so, after that, she came back. It was in November. It was a couple of days after her birthday. Or, I'm trying to remember when her birthday was. Anyway, so, yeah. So, fast forward to the day, she comes. I hadn't seen her at all. She was with family. Understandable, it was like a couple of days after her birthday. She came back from town. I get it. So after that, or whatever, she's like, come over tonight. So we're gonna come through. You're gonna give me weed. Let's smoke. Bet. Alright. So at the time, the girl that she was with, or she was seeing, well,
so tell me who you love, baby. Take a moment to unwind.
So she had gave my friend weed, and we got in the car or whatever, and we were sitting there, and her girl or whatever, her home girl, whatever, was sitting in the driver's side because it was her car. And me and this friend were in the passenger side, and I'm sitting there, and she's on my lap. And we're smoking or whatever, listening to music, whatever. It's cool, you know, cool vibe. And then all of a sudden, I'm sitting there, and like, it was like, I could hear everybody around me, but it was like there was nobody there. Like it was like I heard everybody, but like I could see and I heard everybody, but it was like I felt like I was by myself. And like I don't know, like I started like tweaking, and it was like 15 minutes after the blunts in rotation, whatever. I started tweaking. I'm like, what the fuck? So we had, I'm not sure if we ended up finishing the blunt or not, but this friend that I had, she had opened the car door and it had just got done raining, and there was a puddle on the floor, and I obviously I don't think it was that big, but she was like, yo, catch me, and I could hear her, but I was so like out of it, like my brain was like like non-existent, like I was tweaking. So she like falls out the car, and by the time I like went to go catch her, she was already on the floor. So we ended up getting out or whatever, getting out the car, and I remember me closing the door and sliding down the back of the car door, like the car door, yeah. And like I could see them or whatever, and like slightly hear them, and like I was just like, I'm like tweaking right now. Like it was like I was trying to figure out what was wrong. Like, I wasn't sure because, like, my heartbeat, like, was fine. Like, I was fine at that very moment. And then I was, like, out of it. So I'm like, I'm thinking, oh, I'm just fried, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just hit me differently. So and then I was like, maybe I should just go back up into the crib or whatever, her crib, and just lay down. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. So I start walking back to the crib because we're like 3-4 feet away from the crib. And so I go back to the crib. Or whatever. And I'm like, my heart, like, by the time I hit the steps, my heart rate was so high, like, like, within seconds, like, out of nowhere, like, my heart rate was, like, through the roof. Like, I sat down on the couch. I was like, I'm fine. Like, she was not in the apartment already. She was still downstairs with her little boo or whatever. And so I, like, sit on her couch, and I'm like this. And I remember this friend walking through the door, and she's sitting there like this, and she was, like, talking to me, and I'm just like, and, like, I remember my heartbeat was beating so fast and so loudly, I couldn't even hear what she had to say. And then, like, I'm sitting there, like, and I heard bedroom and go. So I was like, do you want to go back in the back bedroom? And she's like, yeah. And so, like, we're sitting there, whatever, and I start tweaking. Like, and I mean, like, I start tweaking. I'm, like, freaking out. I'm like, bro. Like, I was like, my heart rate is going so fast. And I start crying, and I'd stop. I start crying, and I would stop. And then I would start crying, and then I'd stop. And I was sitting there. And I remember I remember that, okay, what was the next part of that? So, I'm literally trying to, like, explain it as best as I can. And, like, the pieces that I remember. So I remember, like, we went in the back bedroom, and I was like, I sat on the floor instead of on her bed. And she was on her bed, like, on her phone, like, texting away, like, and at this point, like, I wasn't exactly tweaking. I was just sitting there. And I start crying, and then I start tweaking. I'm like, bro, if you go watch Official Mares, like, her, Meredith Reeves, if you go and watch the bad experience with marijuana, so, like, she said that, like, the best she could explain it was when, during Madagascar, like, he had got shot with the tranquilizer, and, like, he was seeing things. I didn't see anything, but I remember feeling woozy, and as if, like, I was kind of, like, floating, and, like, it was, like, all, like, my whole body went numb, but, like, I could hear my heart. And, like, when she says in her video, like, when I thought about heart attack, it's the only thing, like, stuck right here, like, and it just kept going, that was me. And so, like, we're in her room, and she's like, do you want water? I'm gonna get you water. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. And I'm like, what is this? And why do I feel like this? So I start tweaking or whatever, and I start hyperventilating. So, whatever, I think I took a sip of the water. I'm not even sure. But I remember, like tweaking, and I remember, like, it was to the point where, like, I was scared to die. Like, I was like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna die. And so, like, I'm, like, pacing her room, and it was, like, I was trying to, like, call out for her mom, and her mom had to work the next morning, and she was like, shh, like, you cannot do that, like, shh, and whatever. And I'm like, and, like, I feel like I did it loud enough because her room was, like, right next to where her room was, but, like, at the same time, it didn't sound loud to me because of how loud my heartbeat was going. So anyway, fast forward or whatever. I was like, I'm tweaking right now. So like we're sitting there, whatever, da-da-da-da-da. And like I was pacing back and forth and I was like hyperventilating. I remember laying on her bed, but I wasn't sure if that was before I had like dropped on her floor or like either before or after it. I think before, but don't quote me on that. I don't remember. Me and this person aren't friends anymore. But not for those reasons, for a couple other reasons. But anyway, so after that, so like we're chilling or whatever, and like, well, she was chilling, I was tweaking. So I was like, oh my goodness, like I remember like pacing in her room back and forth, and I had literally dropped to the floor, and I was just sitting there, and like I was thinking to myself, like, I'm gonna die. Like that's it. Like my whole life, like